Well, that's why my fucking shit was heavy. All right. Okay. And then, oh, Beric.
Hello?
What's going on, Beric?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Pretty good.
What's going on?
Oh, I'm returning your phone call.
Oh, yeah. TLDR, I was just gonna speak to you and Princess at some point, because I guess I'm going around speaking to pretty much everybody. I guess like every kind of faction, and obviously you guys would be very keyed into a lot of the, obviously like a majority of the people, if not all the people, and a lot of their thoughts and opinions that I might not be able to get to in terms of like any like grievances that have come through within like the past like couple months in terms of like fine or like charge related things.
I can give you a pretty short summary.
Yeah, let me pull out my notes.
Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, at some stage, the DOJ took it upon themselves without any input from anybody else, without any federal input, mind you, which, and I highlight that in particular. One day we showed up and they said, hey, we're adjusting fines and times. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not within their purview, first and foremost.
Okay.
They've always been the mechanism by which it changes, but that's supposed to change through, through everyone, right? Like, you pass, you propose it up, goes to, like, the entire system was supposed to be like everyone has a voice, right? But they kind of made all these alterations, and they effectively altered the fine and time, and including drastically increased the fine of a bunch of shit. The problem was that in addition to pumping the fines up, they also added a bunch of new penal charges just out of the blue, which was illegal. Like, you can't do that. To give you an idea, we call it the jump boot scandal, right? They made jump boots illegal. For jump boots to become illegal, there needed to have been legislation passed making them illegal, or a court case in which there was precedent making them illegal, right? My office mostly fought against the new charges. We didn't have time to really even process all the other damage that they did. I call it damage because, let's shoot straight here. We, by 5 bozos, 3 out of 5 don't even show up in the city, coming to the conclusion that people have too much money and raising all the fines, and now putting us in a position where how the fuck do you even alter that now? Everyone's fucked. So that's kind of where we currently stand. If you look down and look at the breakdown of how much fines were increased, certain categories of fines went up 900%. So we're now at a state where, based on the uneducated opinion of 5 justices, based on loose hearsay, have made fines so expensive that I don't think the city can properly breathe. And that damage is now sort of beginning to bubble up. So that's kind of like the high level.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm like looking to tackle with all this. There's kind of a discussion being had amongst all of them, and
the justices.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it was like everybody, but at a certain point, I was just like, this was after a couple of like conversations with like some people like in the city, and I realized how like I don't know, a lot of people probably have a lot of opinions about this, so I requested like let's like table like this entire thing. I'm gonna spend like the next week, which will be like all of next week, going to as many people as possible, like cops whose opinions that I trust, like every gang, members of the government, like yourself included, and stuff like that, and just gathering as much feedback as possible and putting that together in some meaningful way that is going to make sense. And
let me ask you something, Beric. Is I want like
back off, boo. No time for drama, boo-boo.
I think it's good that you're getting feedback. I think that's something that they didn't previously do. They will claim they did. I know they didn't. And the evidence of that is how quickly they had to revert some of the charges, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like, for example, G6 equipment that civilians use being made illegal. And then within 24 hours, it got reverted back, right? That's not how our system was designed to work, right? And the reason I point that out is
No autographs, honey.
is that even if feedback is gotten, right, this is an economic problem that's being tackled. And what I mean by that is, even if I tell you something, some crews tell you something, the PD tells you something, all of those are feelings. They're not based on facts.
This is true, and I completely agree.
And
but
so
I think it's very, at least in my experience, it's very crucial and important that at least these people, whether ultimately it ends up paying out or not, it's very crucial and important that these people at least be heard out by the people that they believe are causing said issues. And whether like I have any influence on that or not, I can at least do my due diligence as a person if I'm going to be around. And maybe I can't have like the final decision on any of this stuff or not, but I can like take many of these findings as I have and say, hey, this is what I found. This is what I recommend. Do with this as you will. And what they do with that is, up to them.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to imply that you don't do those conversations. That wasn't
I get what you're saying.
That wasn't my intention. My point there was that in addition to this, before any decision is made, we need actual raw data. You know what I mean?
Like what do you mean, like specifically, like what numbers?
Like we're talking about fine adjustments, right?
Yeah.
So okay, when we say like this fine is too much or this fine is too little, what is the principle by which we're making that determination of what is the right amount, right? Is it by polling a bunch of people, or is it by actually looking at the financial circumstances behind everything, right? And I'm almost recommending the latter. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a great question, and one I don't have the answer for.
Yeah, but you get what my point is, though, right? Is like that's what kind of got us into this bind to begin with. Is there was an assertion made by, because I was in the meeting, and I can swear up and fucking down. You can ask other people in my cabinet this. Is that in this meeting, when I asked this question, it was the assertion that gangs have millions and millions of dollars, and that's why these fines need to be increased. So the assertion that crews have millions and millions of dollars is based on nothing, right? And we need a means by which maybe we actually get some kind of I don't know. I don't know. Some kind of like, I don't know, fucking pull people's bank accounts. I don't fucking know. I don't know. Do they have $1 million? Do they have nothing? I don't know. I mean, we don't even know this, and it's such an odd conversation, right? Because it's like, do we start?
Very hard conversations, though.
Do we start getting into the conversation of like, this is why it was shitty for this to happen to begin with, because now reverting it is more of a headache than it was doing it the right way the first time, which is like, okay, someone like, let's just shoot straight, right? People, this city, whether you like this or not, Beric, San Andreas lives on crime.
I mean, yeah.
Crime is the center of this economy. That's why people move here, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's how it goes.
And if there is no crime, there is no economy, and everything's going to fall apart. So, I'm trying to say this in a way that's not weird, but I think you understand where I'm going with this. Is that if you break into a bank and your fine is 5 times the amount than what you're going to earn, you're not going to do it unless it's for fun and for shooting cops.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. With the people that I've been talking to so far, and just like talking like numbers and stuff like that, just like as like odd as it is, like it is just between like possessions and then like the actual like fines and stuff like that. It's fucking unreal.
It's cooked.
Like
people are getting fined like $250,000, right? I don't even know where you make $250,000.
I mean, I would have to imagine most of the people that rob like banks and shit like that do. But
that's the problem. We don't have that kind of information. What I can say, go ahead.
I do, but it's another one of those like weird. Like I was told, but I don't know. Like I don't know.
No, I mean, if you know how much is in the bank, who gives a shit?
Yeah, I mean,
this isn't like secretive information that you shouldn't know anything about.
I just didn't know if you wanted to know or not.
Oh yeah, no, I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I generally told that like, because when I was like looking through things and kind of like looking at fines, I was curious to like what the, like how much people were like even, not that somebody like in my position should care, theoretically, but I was thinking about like what the fines would be in terms of, in reference to like the payout or something like that. But
yeah,
the, I guess like for like robbing a cash exchange or something like that, people tend to get like, I don't know, like 100,000 or something like that is what I was told. And then for like Flicas, I guess it's like the most is like 200,000, and then Polito it's like 400. But the same charge applies to both Polito and Flicas, which is the like high security institution, which is like $60,000 and like 100 months or something like that.
If you want my honest opinion, Beric, I think all the fine changes should be reverted. And if I'm just going to be honest with you, that's probably the thing that we're going to be posting up on the docket. We can skip all that if you're able to convince the justices it was idiotic for them to touch it to begin with, because it was done so illegally. And I say illegally because they made alterations without it going through the legislative process. Now, I'm sure some may kick their feet around, but with all due respect, if you're not showing up to San Andreas to begin with, kindly suck my dick and, let people live their lives comfortably instead of having it being dictated by those that don't have any grasp as to what's happening on a day-to-day basis. Now, the reason I'm arguing that a reversion's better, right, is I get it. I listen, they could have sat there for the last 3 days looking at an Excel sheet. I don't fucking know. But the fact of the matter is, how did they even make those decisions? Right? You getting where I'm saying? Like, where did those numbers come from? Right?
I have no idea.
Well, sensibly, where, and if there is no trust in it, then why not revert it back? And then actually then meticulously go through the process and with everyone involved and slowly raise them up, right? And the reason I make that argument is there's probably, let me take a look at the document. Oh my God. This shit makes me want to throw up.
I stopped hearing you after you said the reason I make the argument.
So when I open up there was about every single charge was updated, right? The fines on them. We don't even know why. Do you know why?
I imagine like.
That's a no, right? Isn't that scary?
I mean, I definitely don't know for sure. Everything that I could present would be like theoretical and like my best guess. So it's not.
My theoretical thought was the feds told them to do it, because I was like, "There's no other way you would go and do this, right?" And then I found out that they did it.
That wasn't even true. Yeah.
I know, and then exactly. So, like, when you have a chance after this call, I want you to think about that first, like, you know, a minute. Is that these people went and altered it with whose input, right? So why should we trust these fine changes to begin with? And if there was an easy way to pull it back, maybe that's the better approach to take, because the alternative reality is yourself and everyone is going to have to spend like hundreds of hours weaving through this bullshit instead of actually working on things that are interesting, you know?
I mean, if it makes shit better, like, I don't mind like doing that kind of stuff, because like I said, I feel like you know, people getting their like opinions out, especially when it's like grievances and stuff like that. I feel like it's very important. But
I don't mean the talking bit, but I mean it's like a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
Like revert and then build up, or you know, slowly go through all 60 plus charges. But I don't know. I know, but yeah, that's my TLDR. It's that these things never should have been changed without any formal process in place, because otherwise otherwise it just looks like arbitrary, you know, fine changes, and bleeding people out. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that, I mean, even as somebody that was a cop for like a really long time, for like fucking like 7 years or some shit, like looking at attempted murder for a government employee just like fucking racked my brain a new one.
Why? With how high of a charge it is?
Yeah, because when I was a cop like years ago, like I always had, I mean, I had my own opinions on everything, obviously. But like years ago, no matter how many cops you shot and stuff like that, it was, you know, the charge was $4,000, and no matter what, and it was capped at 8.
Yep.
And you could only get a maximum of 40 months from that. And I was of the opinion, like, okay, I feel like this like probably isn't enough. Either like, you know, maybe raise the fine like a little bit, like not what it is now. Like this is, you know, when I saw what it is now, I was like, okay, that's 3 times what it was before.
Yeah.
Or what I recall it being. That's like kind of crazy. Or like, just like let go of the cab. Because I feel like the cab is like kind of an interesting idea in the first place, and kind of hard to relatively explain to people to begin with. But it was a, you know, different reasoning back then and shit like that. But now it is essentially like both of those things are present. Like it's 50 months, the time stacks, and it's $12,000 per. So like if somebody shoots like 9 cops, they're already like netting like $108,000, and like a fucking shit ton of time, like well over the maximum amount of time that they would like serve already. But
What
I don't know.
was that?
Yeah, it's I don't know what the solution here is. I wish you the best of luck.
Listen, man, my thought process, and this is the same thing. Like I was talking like flip your bound and stuff like that. And if I don't be back around and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it 100%. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's whatever. I don't have the ability to like half-ass things. It's either like, 100% do it or just don't do it at all. So,
hell yeah,
we'll see if something comes out of it, and hopefully it does. But either way, I'm just looking for feedback. If you hear anybody else's feedback, more than happy to take it on and gather it.
Yeah, I would say, like, generally speaking, all these fines for the big charges just need to be drastically reduced, because I think the fundamental reason why they were altered to begin with were based on a false narratives. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was an attempt to economy adjust the fines without any actual economic information. So,
okay, what to you, or what comes to mind for you when you think of the big charges that you're thinking of right now? That are like the examples of that.
I think anything. I'd say attempted murder of a government employee, to be honest. I don't know why you get charged so much. Like, why does it cost so much when you shoot at a cop? I mean, people get shot and they're worth like a tenth, right? Maybe robbery. I don't know. For me, I think everything just has to be reduced transparently,
just like across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all I've asked a lot of pretty much all the feedback I've gotten is like possession related charges and like violent related things, like gun related things, like shooting cops and etc., which led me to that kind of idea of like, is this like an isolated issue, or is it like more of a widespread thing? Do we need to like look at like drug related instances as well? And people haven't really complained about anything relating to that, because I mean, when people get hit with stuff like that, like, bootlegging or, anything like drug related, it's usually not in like huge stacks, and those things are.
I'm a little bit like, listen, my brain is weird. I'm very, I'm going to say this in a way, like, I have a very particular way of thinking about these things, and it's very like, I need the science. Otherwise, like, it doesn't compute, if that makes sense. So,
no, I get that.
And
everybody works differently.
Yeah, for me, it's like, the reason why I keep going back to everything's got to get reduced, because everything is about proportions, right? So let's say we dropped all the, like, the violent stuff by 50%, right? Hypothetically.
Yeah.
Now that violent stuff might be on the same order of magnitude as the Grand Theft Auto, right? Which is why I'm pretty sure it's properly balanced, like proportionally. It's just too high. So give me a sec. Let me see how low I can put this slider.
The slider for what particularly? are you talking about?
I can reduce the fines, but
Oh, really?
yeah, but only by a certain amount, which is why I haven't. Oh, hey, how you doing?
What's up?
I can reduce them, but I think only by 50%. But that's why I haven't really touched it, because this isn't, you know what I mean? It's so fucking cooked that I can do it by 50%.
Man, let me think about
I
it.
don't really like using that thing, because
Yeah, I mean, that's like a, you know, I guess it's like a band-aid.
it's a band-aid, because you could do it, but that's going to be until someone goes and readjusts something, and then everything's fucked. Like, that's meant for, like, temporary shit.
Yeah, it's cool that you're able to do that, though. So, like, if you need to.
Oh, yeah, that's also how, well, last time I tried that, we lost the director and the justice.
Oh, what can you do?
Yeah.
What can you do? It happens, especially in these trying times.
Yeah. Well, I wish you all the best with this. Like I said, I'll have to take I would ask the justices if they got like a before and after. Like, you know what it was before and what it is now.
What did you say before that?
Oh, you should ask to see if they have like a sheet of what the charges were before and what they are now.
I imagine there's if they don't, there's definitely some people in the PD that have that, because I know some people that have like held on to like past penal codes and stuff like that for a long time.
Yeah. Yep.
So I imagine they have, have it somewhere. Somebody does.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. It's I guess if there is like a way to like properly revert things, I don't know how easy that would be, but hey, if it is easier on the end of everybody and they would agree to it, then yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get that done. I just don't I don't know.
Yeah.
Just trying to get something working, trying to get something going instead of it just being a conversation that doesn't go anywhere.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna get going, Barry. If you need anything, please do let me know. Yeah.
Yeah. Likewise.
All right. Take care.
Later.
I could just say fuck it and reduce it. You know what? Fuck it.